in this. We talked earlier about not being able to go to any basketball, and it's kind of nice to have a chance to maybe see a little bit of something, even though we may know the outcomes. It's still nice to have a chance to see that.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Coach Tarr, this is kind of his brainchild. So great thought. And last week we shared a girls' victory and a boys' victory from last season. So our thoughts are to kind of bring you a game from a bunch of different eras, from now all the way back into when Coach Falk was still alive and coaching the Tigers. So it's going to be a fun thing to do. Nothing else to do on Friday nights, and we're all out of our element. But at least we're going to bring you a little bit of Tiger basketball tonight. Coach, this game was played at Westville.
Yeah,
we got the Tiger paw in the middle of the course, and we kind of felt at home. And if you look, there's just a sea of orange, and the pack was definitely hopping that night.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing when they keep us in the locker room until right time to come out. And when we came out and saw that, it was overwhelming, but it was awesome at the same time. And Shano and Xavier Holt, some of those other guys that headed the pack, they did an awesome job, and our fans were just so supporting that year, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, so our opponent for this night was Reed-Custer. You and I kind of talked briefly that didn't have a lot of information on them, but just doing a little recon the last day or two, they had some dudes that touched the ceiling.
Yeah. They, I tried, every opponent we get, I see play at least one time, and I prefer to kind of see twice, and then I'll talk to some other coaches to try to get some information. And they were tight-lipped. Coach was very respected, and obviously a conference school. I probably wouldn't have done. I probably would have done the same thing too, and been a little tight-lipped. So it's hard for me to get some info. So I saw them live about 3. I think they played on Monday that week, and I got to see them then. And to be honest with you, I kind of heard what they did with the Grinnell, and getting a chance to see it, it was pretty scary, pretty quick. To be honest with you, I thought St. Joe was going to win, and I had already seen them about 3 times that year. So it kind of shocked me when Reed-Custer pulled it out.
Yeah, if I recall, or I don't recall it at all, I did some looking on the HSA website, and they did beat St. Joe in overtime. And and once you mentioned that, it kind of brought back some memories. Like, we're going to face St. Joe in this thing, and we didn't really know much about Reed-Custer or even where they're from.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing, St. Joe had the Michael kid who went on to play at McKendree at D2 and scored over 1,000 points, and his dad was Tom Michael, played at U of I, and I've got history with St. Joe, having been at Crispin. I've known Brian Brooks for, at this point, 14 years, and so I kind of knew what we were going to expect out of St. Joe, so it made my scout a little bit easier. So that night we went, we were really focused on watching Reed-Custer and trying to get a feel of what they would like to do to us.
Yeah, and just watching the opening few minutes of the game, both teams seemed to be a little bit tense.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a great atmosphere there at Westville High School. But it, kind of slow going at the beginning. And you're going to see that throughout the course of the first, 2.5 quarters or so until we finally kick things into gear. Now, if I remember right, we kind of held the lead throughout the first half.
Yeah.
And then they made a little run on us in the third.
Yeah, we, I think we turned it over the first 2 times, and our whole game plan, or what we prepared for, was chaos. And when you bring these guys on to talk to you, I've never done anything like that in my life in practice, but we had 2 days of, it was pretty chaotic, and we tried to make it chaotic on purpose because of the way that they played. We were running 9 guys at 5 in practice, and I'm like, just run at them, double team them, do whatever you got to do, slap them, foul them. They got to be strong with the ball. And if the ball went out of bounds and it was off of us, I said, just grab it and go. We're just going to create chaos with how they played. And I was proud of our guys out of the start. Like, our defense was good the entire game. And right from the get-go, we were really, really good defensively. Probably the best defensive effort I've ever had one of my teams put out. But the defense was there from the beginning. We were just a little shaky on the offensive end.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the troops that you took into battle this night. We're going to have a few of them join us here in just a few minutes, but if you can just kind of briefly mention the roster, starting off with your starting five, and then, your rotation of 7-8 guys, and then move on down the bench if you don't mind.
Yeah, and by this point in the season, we've got it trimmed down to about 7 guys that are playing pretty heavily, and maybe an 8th who gets a little bit of time going in. We were pretty senior heavy at the top. I mean, obviously, our guards were Logan McDaniel, who played point for us, and played quite a bit as a junior for us, and took that point guard spot for us, and just did a good job of kind of being the calm. He was the guy that kind of calmed us down. And then Denver Brewer came in and played really well throughout the season, kind of an energy guy, and you'll see him make some play. He makes some big plays, hustle plays throughout the game for us that really, at the time that he did them, we really needed it. And then, our main guy that year, and everybody will probably tell you this, is Riley Spencer. And, he went on to play for 4 years afterwards. And, he was just, I think, looking back on the season and how it went, he was the guy that got everything. He righted the ship for us. I think it's because they were scared of him. And Riley wasn't going to let us lose. And I think there was a point in the season where we were struggling, and Riley just kind of told all these dudes, like, hey, you're going to jump on board and you're going to go, or you're going to have a problem with me. So, he was kind of our guy. Then you had Audie Temples, who was just phenomenal the last 4 minutes of the game, and just said, it's time for me to start playing and win this game. And, Audie had a kind of a shaky year up and down. A lot of people don't remember that I benched him early in the year, and for about 5 or 6 games he didn't start, and it's just because he wasn't doing what we needed him to do. And I think that was huge for getting him to have the switch turn on and say, this is it, and I got to start, doing what I need to do and playing the way that I can. It's probably the best move that I made for the season as far as coaching moves go. And then Jeffrey Martin, the junior, really, Jeffrey ended up going and playing for 4 years too after school. And he worked his butt off. I mean, as a freshman, he didn't even start, and he's kind of just kept getting better and better, and really wanted to be a good player. And in the third quarter, he was gigantic in this game, just running from rim to rim and finishing around the basket. And he kind of, kept us going there in the third. Bench guys were, Hunter Morris. He didn't play for 3 years and decided to play his 4th year. And he was just kind of one of those guys that fit in and did little things that some guys wouldn't do that we needed. Kind of a calming guy, strong kid, would make some shots. Zach Lukin off the bench was big for us. He made some big plays in this game. I mean, pretty much at some point in the game, our top 7 made some sort of play that really swung how this game went. And, he was big for us in different situations. Then Cam Malone kind of came in, another big kid, just played really hard, really accepted his role. It may not have been exactly what he wanted down the stretch, but he always came and worked hard and had a good attitude. Mike Wells is our other senior on that team. And, Mike didn't play a lot, but Mike was a great teammate. You never heard him ever complain. His parents were never chattering or complaining. And Mike just came and played and did his thing. And if he played, he played. And if he didn't, he didn't. I mean, he had a big shot against Matt Toon in our senior night game. And it was really cool for him to have that opportunity to make that shot. And then after that, guys they just didn't play a whole lot. You had Marcus Schweitzer and Cam Elmore and Connor Polker and Austin Roberts, who are all going to be kids that were big for us in the future. and just for them to be able to experience that, it was huge. And then, Tyler Blue, who's another kid who was a junior that year, and he was a big part of the next season, and just a great kid, strong farm kid. And the Blue Boys, it's hard to not like either one of them. They're just good kids. But this team was a lot of fun, a lot of frustration at times, but a lot of fun. And obviously I'm proud of them for what they did. They struggled through, most of these seniors, their junior year, we go 6-20, and it was really, really tough. It was a hard thing to go through, and they just said, we're going to win as seniors. And the summer before, our whole goal was to play a bunch of games, just win and teach them how to win again. And they did, and we struggled, but they fought through it and battled through adversity. And obviously, it turned out really well for them. You still there, Jeff? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I got you there.
I don't know if you're having some technical issues there or not. And you probably just walked away because I'll just keep talking. So
no, that's how we're going to fill this hour. That's what we want to do. I'm just talking about how good the juniors and seniors mesh together. A lot of unselfishness, and you can see it throughout this game. Share the basketball well, and that's what we had to do in order to beat this team that were just. Just seemed like like you mentioned about your practice, that you had 6-7 guys out there against us. If you can, try to take us back to the regional, how we got to the sectional to start things out. I know we beat Clifton Central 63-60 the first game of the sectional to advance, but if you can, just kind of take us back through the regional.
Yeah, and the big thing with that was, it was at home, and we were the 2 seed. My dad, he might get mad at me for saying this, but he was pretty upset because, it felt like we were concentrated on the 71 team a lot. There wasn't a lot about what we were doing at the time. It was kind of 71 team. To do that, if people remember right, they were like picked to kind of win it all and be the number 1 team and stay. So, we weren't. We were the 2 seed. We weren't even supposed to win that regional. But we found a way to do it. So it's kind of different being on Evelyn and you're wearing your away uniforms. The first game we played Tuscola, and they had a good team. They were pretty good overall. They had a couple good players. I can't remember off the top of my head who they were, but it was a battle till the end. We kind of took control of it, and then just held on to. I think we ended up winning by 9 or so that game. But they were a solid team, and Tuscola is always physical and had some decent size and had some guards that could really shoot it. So, I was pretty scared at going into the regional with our draw. And after we won that one, we played Sullivan. Sullivan was, scouting long, athletic, had kids that could shoot. And the thing with Sullivan was, their head coach, Chet Reeder, was actually one of my assistants my first 2 seasons as a head coach at Chrisman. So, Chet kind of knew what I wanted to do and what, how we wanted to play. And he's at T-Town